Here we go. Welcome back to Comic Book History. Yep, haven't done one of these in 10 days. This is episode number 86. Unlike last episode, feel a bit of ranting. This one, don't have necessarily worry about that per se. We're talking about a character who I have met. We're talking about his time at Marvel Comics, where I think the last book he published was like a mini-series like a year or two ago. This creator being the man with the beard, Jason Aaron. Yep, a guy who basically is known for having very lengthy runs on books. The earliest book I have seen that he, of course, did a review for my comic corners was Ghost Rider. He did issues 20 to 35, I think it was, that of the 6th volume for the series. He also worked on the following miniseries, War in Heaven. He also did Astonishing Spider-Man Wolverine. He's never worked on a Spider-Man book per se. As I've had miniseries, he never worked on a Spider-Man book, which is surprising given how good of a writer he is. Let's see. You probably think, okay, did he ever work on an issue of Iron Man in his career? Nope. He never did. He never worked on Iron Man. As for the reason why he never worked on Iron Man, I have no idea why he never worked on Iron Man. He just never did. Okay, you might be asking this next question. Okay, did he write an issue for Captain America? Nope, never did. He never did Captain America. Not at all. Actually, his earliest comic he worked on was actually issue Wolverine, but the first one I saw was Ghost Rider. Yeah, like I said, 2035. He did some issues of Black Panther. Yep, he did Black Panther Volume 3, issues 30 to 41. Yeah, a few issues. It was actually not Volume 3, it was actually Volume 4. Yes, Volume 4. One of the most lengthy characters he had a long run in this character is Wolverine. Yes. Not only he worked on the Astonishing Spider-Man Wolverine miniseries and the issue 175 of Wolverine Volume 2, he also worked on a couple of story arcs in Volume 3. For Volume 3, he worked on issues 56, 62, 65, and stories from 73 to 74. He did the Wolverine Manifest Destiny miniseries. He was the main writer for the Wolverine Weapon X book, which is, I think, like the only spin-off Wolverine book he worked on. He did pretty much the entirety of Wolverine Volume 4, which was 20 issues, 8.1, and issues 300 to 304 of the book. Yeah, and also the fact, if you see Wolverine in pop in the miniseries, Schism is actually just after, I believe, the Red Right Hand story arc with that one, where at one point he kills Mystique and then she comes back. Let's see. He also worked on. He had a very lengthy Wolverine the X-Men, which happened after Schism, which he did. He split the X-Men in half, and he pretty much decided to take up Wolverine the X-Men, a book that lasted 42 issues and had annuals. Surprisingly, he didn't write the annuals. It was somebody else. Book. I actually really enjoyed the writing of this book. I love the storytelling. The only thing I wasn't really a fan of, I didn't think the artwork matched the book. Because early on, basically, he had Chris Bachalo on the artwork for this one, though he worked on another book with Jason Aaron. I'll talk about it in a minute. Lasting 42 issues, and aside from Wolverine and the X-Men, like, in case you're curious, though, did he work on any major X book besides Wolverine and the X-Men? No, he never did. He did work on Captain America one-shot. He did. He also worked on Captain America miniseries, but the main book, no, he never did. Yeah, he did do a short story in Avengers vs. Atlas. He was one of the writers for Avengers vs. X-Men. He worked on issues 0, 2, 9, and 12. Yes, 12 is noteworthy for the issue where Black Panther and Storm split due to her siding with the X-Men against the Avengers, and for some reason, people blame Bendis for that issue, despite the fact he didn't write it. If you look it up, it was Jason Aaron. He wrote it. So, know if you can blame Jason Aaron for that, but that comic came out roughly about, believe it or not, 13 years ago. So these are other comics he worked on. By the way, he has worked on. He also did a story for Immortal Weapons. He did a story for Deadpool 900. Was a joke issue, by the way. He had a very strange time of Punisher. I'll get to. He had his first run, which I'm talking about future, is run Punisher Max, an excellent book, which I would talk about future. I'll talk about that after I do Punisher Volume 6. Also, here's something though. He did work on a digital book, American Eagle. Yep, American Eagle, Little Fashion Justice. Yeah, it was a one-shot for this very minor character, American Eagle. You think, who the heck is American Eagle? Well, he debuted in the Marvel 2 Annual. He's appeared very sporadically over the years. Yep. Aside from his very lengthy run Wolverine, working Wolverine the X-Men, one of the major books he worked on for a lengthy period of time, a run that lasted for, I kid you not, 7 years this book lasted for, his run for Thor, which had 2 or 3 relaunches. First was simply known as Thor for roughly... Actually, the first one was Thor God of Thunder. It was on that one first. And it lasted for 25 issues. He also did the Thor Secret Wars Thor miniseries. After Thor God of Thunder wrapped up, he did, of course, Thor volume. I think it was like Thor. I think it was volume 5, which was only just a handful of issues. Which is the issue. This is the book that debuted the female Thor. Yes, he also Unworthy Thor, Narrations My Thor, Unworthy Thor, My Thor Against Valhalla. He also did his last relaunch, Volume 5, was the last 6 issues. He did King Thor and a story for Thor Volume 624. Here's the thing about this era for Thor. He got a lot of criticism for giving Mjolnir to Jane Foster. And, of course, taking the name of Thor. He, of course, went by Odinson or simply the Unworthy Thor. A decision that some people basically still chastise him for this very day, despite the fact he actually really good storytelling here. And my honest opinion, I really enjoyed his time on Thor. I get the fact some people didn't. Fine. It's your opinion about it. The run wasn't terrible. I don't get why this is the one run basically of his that people give him a lot of flack for. The fact that they think he's stuck around for too long. If that's the case, how about Tom DeFalco, who did it back in the 1990s? Or Stan Lee and Jack Kirby? Or having Doug Moak write the book, even though his run made no freaking sense at all. Yes. Hate Thanos Rising, which I think was a prologue to upcoming. I think it was Infinity. Yes. Yep. He also did the series. He did a couple series for Original Sin. He did the main book per se, which I love this book. Oh my gosh. This book was amazing. I love the whole mystery. Him, Mike Dalmuda did an excellent job with this book. Heck, he had one of the coolest scenes in a crossover book. The Punisher with Rocket Raccoon. 2 characters who debuted close to the same period of time to each other, but prior to this comic, they never met. We also had Emma Frost interacting with Scott Lang. Which then we had a joke about his brain shrinking because Becky was staring right up at Emma Frost. Was so funny. And I remember basically Rocket Raccoon's line. And by the way, this comic came out 11 years ago, believe it or not. The line was, "Hi, Skullboy. Hey, Skullboy, my gun's bigger." Yes, I found it to be so funny. Yes, he wrote that. I still think it's funny this very day. He worked in this one mini-series from Icon called Men in Wrath. He had a very lengthy, roughly about a few-year run on Thor. Not Thor. Star Wars. Yes, he wrote pretty much in the way the first 37 issues of not the line that just wrapped up. Oh no, that was Charles Show. He did the first 37. Excuse me. And it was Karen Gillan and Greg Pak in the book. He wrote short stories for Darth Vader, Black, White, and Blood. He did Secret Wars, Weird War, which he now did second volume. That, I think it was... I know Mike Diamond did the art for that one, too. I don't remember who did that one. And after Secret Wars, of course, he still did Thor. He also worked on Doctor Strange, which his one was amazing. Oh my gosh. This is also the other book that he worked with Chris Baxwell on. 20 issues, trying to destroy magic. Like, the story was fantastic. This book actually got a lot... This book was actually very beloved by comic fans. People love this more than they went for Thor for reasons. Oh, and here's something really weird, though. Thor never appeared in this book. That's the weird thing about him. He does not have characters mix up very much. Like, for example, do we have Wolverine pop up in like almost every comic he wrote? Not really, no. If you think of one character he worked on, basically he kept constantly pop up, it's the Orb. The second one. Yep. So, and then came, well, of course, he also worked on Conan the Barbarian, War of the Realms, which is awesome, by the way, which I did hear something. Apparently, Marvel had no faith in this at first, and then it was released reluctantly. He also did Valkyrie. He did the one-shot Full Circle, which came out in 2019. A story from Arkham 1000. Heroes of Our Mightiest Heroes. An issue of America Man. And an Uncle Scrooge comic. Yes. Of course, yes, he worked on Conan the Barbarian, the first 12 issues of the 24-issue run, which the last issue was going to be 25, was actually deemed issue 300. He did a run for King Conan. Another book of his that I heard, from what I heard, people did receive some criticism, was his run for Avengers. It was not due to his length. It was due to some ideas for characters in the book. For example... I was hearing that, he basically, people, when they look at She-Hulk in the book, it's just Hulk in a wig. And I have spoken to Jason Aaron about that. The fact that the rumor was apparently that he was going to have Hulk put in this book, and so they got She-Hulk, and the reason why I couldn't get them because Al Ewing used them. I actually asked about that, because I heard about this. And he told me that is a complete lie. Someone made that up, because... the whole idea, the fact he was going to use basically Hulk in this book, not She-Hulk, that's a complete lie. He told me that because I asked him about it. I did disagree with him on basically hooking She-Hulk up with Thor. I thought it was a really weird idea. Why did I look at Ron Solomon, which is the character created for his Thor book, which is amazing, by the way. Which, by the way, if you ask me personally, what is my favorite cover from Thor God Thunder? It's issue 22. Because it's an awesome cover. You have Thor and Ross on versus basically Urk the Troll, which is awesome. Yes. Now, I personally love Jason Aaron for Thor. I thought it was amazing. I never thought any issue was bad, per se. Not really, no. Yes, the whole thing of, the Avengers be headquartered out of, a dead Celestial. Which was brought up in Judgment Day, by the way. Yes, and then when the run wrapped up, they stopped using Avengers Mountain, and now they're based out of, according to Jed McKay's one, they're based out of a thing called Impossible City, which is a member of the team. It's actually the first time the Avengers based on a satellite. Which I'm sure Jed McKay probably got that from DC Comics, with Justice League always based on a satellite. Yep. He, of course, also worked on Avengers Forever, which is an excellent book, by the way. Yeah, he wrote this book. He also has some issues of Avengers Assemble, the second volume for the book. What second volume? Let's see. Oh yeah, but it was the event. Yes. He also did Jane Foster Valkyrie, which was really good. Shame the book got canceled after only 20 issues. I heard the reason why, because of COVID. Yeah, that was the reason why. There was also King in Black, Return to Valkyries. The Mighty Valkyries, who continued numbering for some reason. Last book I saw he worked on from Marvel was... oh yes, he worked on A+X, Black Panther for Storm, which probably make up for what happened in the main book. The last book I heard he worked on Marvel was Namor. Yeah, he worked on a Namor miniseries. And that's pretty much all. That's kind of all the books he worked on. I never thought any books he worked on were bad per se. I had some disagreements, some ideas he had for some books, but I never thought he wrote a bad book. Not necessarily. Currently, you can catch him on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when off by IDW. And those of you might be asking, this, oh, by the way, almost forgot, second last book he worked on. Okay, so, he did do another run with Punisher, a run that was very mixedly received, had a good start to it. I do agree with the start. I thought the start was really good. The problem was the ending. Yes. And mostly, yeah, it's mostly true, yes, that he never wrote a bad book, with the exception of issue 12 of his run for Punisher. An issue that was very hated. It retconned the fact that Frank Castle was their father and terrible husband, which it felt like basically the whole book was basically just a middle finger to Jerry Conway. That's what I kind of thought about it. But that was one of his last major assignments he worked on Marvel, aside from the Namor book. And somebody asked the question, he used to work for DC. Yes, he does work for DC. As a matter of fact, he actually is working on a book for DC right now, Absolute Superman. He's also worked on a miniseries called The Other Side. He did the series Scalped, a 2-issue miniseries for Friday the 13th. 2 issues of Hellblazer, Joker's on Penguin. He did a couple books for American Vampire. Batman Off-World, yeah, he wrote that. He did 3 issues of Action Comics recently. Yes. So aside from TMNT, you can also find him on Absolute Superman, which I think is the only book he worked on. Oh, yeah, he also did do X-Force Special 8 No Dog. Yes, he did work on that book. He has done some Image Comics books. Have I read anything? Have I reviewed anything he worked on? No, but these books he worked on Image. 24/7, Plot, Pilot Season, Ripclaw, Liberty Comics, Southern Bastards, which actually is one of my Image Comics worked on. The Goddamned, Sea Stars, The Old Guard Through Time. It was a anthology book. He also worked on these other books. Oh, TMNT obviously worked on that one. Once at the End of the World, Sound of Fury, Love is Love One Shot, which that was released, of course, the country ass whooping a Twitter roof theology. The whole thing with Love is Love One Shot, that was a promotional one shot to raise funds victims of a shooting that happened in Orlando. What type of club was it? It was a gay club. Yeah, a guy basically, the story goes, the guy didn't like stuff he was seeing, so I'm kind of abbreviating, this is what would happen. He basically shot the place up. It was tribute to people who got killed during this shooting, which I found out about this thing when I was at a hotel. Oh, and the guy who basically caused this, oh, he's dead. He got killed. Yeah. Of course, he was one of the main writers who wrote this, which got appreciated. The biggest artist who contributed to this book was George Perez. And I remember there was Megahar Orlando I went to, was the first one I went to, where I was going to meet him. Basically, the plan, my hope was to see him there, but my dad had a panic attack, so I couldn't meet George Perez. I did kind of see him, I never spoke to him. I saw him once when he was alive. Once. But never spoke to him. Never. Because for some strange reason, I'm not sure why this happened. I never knew anything about this at all. The social media never promoted this at all. The website never said anything about this at all. Where I didn't see it at the time. Where you had to get there early to participate in a lottery to basically get a number for a sketch and autograph. Okay, it was complete news to me, and man, I missed my chance to meet George Perez. Yeah. All because I didn't know anything about this, so I got to his table. But Jason Aaron himself, I met him once. I think I got him to sign. I think it was a Star Wars book. I think it was. No, I think it was like. I think it was. No, it wasn't Star Wars. I think I got him to sign. I think it was. I think it was War of the Realms. I think it was War of the Realms, and I think an Avengers book. Yes. But if anybody get a chance to meet this guy, he's a very nice guy to me person, believe it or not. Yes. When did I meet him? Last year, believe it or not, at Make Orlando. Yep. Yeah, one of the time, basically when I drove up to meet him. I drove with myself from my house to meet there. This actually is the before I close this video out here, this actually is the only comic creator which I'm talking about here where I've actually met them. Yes, I had previously talked about Brian Michael Bendis, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko. I've talked about Jason Aaron. Not Jason Aaron, James Robinson, excuse me. But he's the only one I've actually met. Yes. I keep telling people this about stuff that if you want to question about something with a comic, ask the creator. Ask why this thing had to happen. They will probably give you an answer for it. As far as I can tell, when I talked to Jason Aaron, everything I asked him, he answered no problem. Yeah, I've never had an issue at all about this at all. With any comic creators. One, I think I probably should do it because I've met him a few times. Nice guy. He had a lot of knowledge about... I probably should do one about Jim Shooter. I can think a lot about him. I'm sure a lot of people talk about him per se, but I want to talk about... I mainly picked Jason Aaron to talk about for comic history, mainly because I am a long fan of his work. I've been following his work now for almost 20 years. I own some of the stuff in trade, but not all of it. I think the only thing I own in trade that he worked on. I own his Doctor Strange work, which is amazing, by the way. I own War of the Realms, the main miniseries. I'm trying to think what else I own that he worked on. That he himself worked. I do own one of his vendor trades. Yes. So it is most about what I own that I have purchased over the years. I own one of his Weapon X books. Yes, I own the first book that collect this book. Yes. I also own... Oh, yeah, he also did Amazing X-Men, which I have reviewed. Amazing book. Just reviewed Nightcrawler. I do own the Wolverine Japanese Most Wanted miniseries. Japan's Most Wanted. Which is the digital first book. It's on my shelf over here. I did own basically Punisher King Killers. I actually just donated recently for that one. But not a lot of person. Oh yeah, he also did. I almost forgot to mention this. He also did a brief run for Incredible Hulk. Yeah, very. I almost forgot about this book per se, but this book was bizarre, to say the least. It was a quick 15-issue run. It's a run no one talks about. I've never heard anybody talk about this book. Not really. It's a bizarre concept. Hulk and Banner being separated, and then they could get merged together. And it's kind of a very strange book per se. It is also the first book for Incredible Hulk to have issues. I kid you not, it's the first book to have issues. I think it was 6 to 11, because Incredible Hulk has never had these issues published before. His original volume never had them. Volume 2 kind of in the way filled in the numbers basically missing the last volume. And can this book last for 15 issues before it get relaunched? And you're replaced with Indestructible Hulk. Yeah, this was actually the only thing he worked on for Hulk. So you can kind of think of basically, you look at his run time at Marvel, he worked on the majority of the characters, like a lot of the books. Thor, Avengers, Wolverine, the X-Men, a little bit of Deadpool per se, but never had Fish to run the book. The only books Steve Fisher runs on were Ghost Rider, which was Johnny Blaze. Yeah, Ghost Rider, Thor, Avengers, of course Wolverine, the X-Men obviously. Wolverine, a very lengthy Wolverine. Liberty for Punisher, Conan the Barbarian. Am I missing anything? Let's see. No, I'm not missing. Oh yeah, he also did Star Wars. I forgot Star Wars, Doctor Strange, obviously. But I would say he got a majority of. I'd say he got about a quarter of Marvel's characters out of the way. There are some books I really wish he would have runs for because amazing writer he is. I kind of wish he would do a Spider-Man book, not like a one-shot miniseries, a Spider-Man ongoing. He needed to do that one, a Captain America book, an Iron Man book, which he's never done any of those. He's never done a She-Hulk book. Nope, never has. You think, okay, so is there a character he's never done? He's never done Captain Marvel. Nope, never has. Yes, and pretty much in the way when I started reading comics back in 2004, what book was he working on at the time at Marvel Comics? Was it Weapon X? No. If you're wondering what book he was working at the time, basically, I started reading Marvel Comics. The answer to that was nothing. Yes. Believe it or not, he did not work on anything on Marvel until like 08. I started reading 04. Yeah, for his Marvel book, I would say probably his earliest book he worked on Marvel was probably Wolverine the X-Men. But Wolverine Volume 275. But that came around probably about 2 years prior to me starting it. I would say probably the earliest book that he worked on was a Ghost Rider? No. It was actually Wolverine Volume 356. That was the earliest comic that he worked at Marvel that I can think of. So mostly just Wolverine. But check the guy's books out. Basically, he had good stuff here. So I'm going to hear tonight because basically it's kind of late. So I will see you all tomorrow. This is pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit the dislike button. So I'll see you tomorrow for reviews for Case Closed, Afria, Head of the World, and maybe Comic Corner 2. Okay? Next view. Bye.